Good evening. And on this Friday, May 3rd, I want to welcome you to another edition of the Rankin, Mon Valley, and Pittsburgh section of the National Council of Negro Women. My name is Patricia Bluette, and I am the section's corresponding secretary. And joining me is Alice Paylor Days. Alice is a member of our section's political committee. We thank all of you who have participated in our previous program and hope that you will join us again today with your questions by calling 412 853 8206. Our guests today are George Spencer and Pastor Ella Rawlings of the Greater Pittsburgh Area MADDADS. The program today satisfies one of the National Council of Negro Women's national mandates to educate women and their families about available resources in their communities. Today's program will also support the National Council of Negro Women Good Health Wins initiative and the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control's Bridge to Access programs. Before we begin the show, we'd like to have an introduction of our guests by reading their bios. Alice?
Yes. Good evening. We have George Spencer. George graduated from General Braddock Area High School and furthered his education at Edinburgh State College and Community College of Allegheny County. George achieved the rank of Specialist 5th Class while serving in the 5th Infantry Division. He was employed with the United States Postal Service from 1981 to 2018 as a mail handler and was also certified by the U.S. Postal Service Management Academy to be an equal employment opportunity counselor/investigator. Mr. Spencer also served several terms as an officer in the National Alliance of Postal and Federal Employees. He is currently the National Second Vice President and National Labor Relations Director for that union. Mr. Spencer is an elder at Covenant Church of Pittsburgh and National President of Men Against Destruction, Defending Against Drugs and Social Disorder, otherwise known as the MADDADS. George has been president of the Greater Pittsburgh Area MADDADS chapter since its inception in 2006. MADDADS is nationally affiliated Christian organization comprised of members who are single-minded in their resolve to save communities from the mouth of the madness that is drugs, crimes, and violence. Welcome, Mr. Spencer, and thank you for being on the program. Our second guest this evening is Pastor Ella Rawlings. Pastor Ella Rawlings' inspiring journey took root with a profound dedication to education, a thriving family, and a pioneering spirit. Ella's life is a testament to her unwavering commitment to both her neighborhood and her faith. As a mother to 3 daughters, a grandmother to 9, and a great grandmother, Ella has been a guiding force for her family. Her educational journey led to a Bachelor of Science and a Master of Education from the University of Pittsburgh, sparking a lifelong passion for education. For 3 decades, Ella's professional path intertwined with Wilkinsburg High School, where she ultimately became the first African American female principal in 2005, breaking barriers for others. Retiring from the school district in 2012, Ella devoted more time to ministry and took on the role of senior pastor at Covenant Church on the Hill. In addition, she became co-owner of Living Juicy Organic Raw Cafe with her daughters in memory of her husband. Active in MADDADS, Ella serves as president of the Moms Division and vice president of Outreach. She instituted the Vanessa Spencer Scholarship, reflecting her dedication to youth education and support. Welcome, Pastor Rollins, and thank you for being on the program. You sound so excited. Yeah, your life, both of you guys seem like you're busy 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Okay, we're going to get right into our questions. And
Yeah.
the first question I'm going to ask is, what is Greater Pittsburgh area MADDADS, and why a MADDADS chapter in the Pittsburgh area?
well, I'll begin with this. Greater Pittsburgh area Men Against Destruction, Defending Against Drugs and Social Disorder is one of several that exist throughout the country. The inception of MADDADS was Omaha, Nebraska in 1989, and it was started by some African-American Christians that were fed up with the unchecked flow of illegal drug sales going on in their community. That was during a period where the sweeping epidemic of crack cocaine was going throughout the country, including rural America as well as urban America. And Omaha, Nebraska was one of the areas affected. And the same reasons that they started the original MADDADS chapter in 1989, we found ourselves dealing with right here in Pittsburgh, Allegheny County. Exact same things. Death by drugs, destruction by drugs, gunfire. And so seeing whereas that was the situation, I happened to be in an event that many of you are probably familiar with, the Community Empowerment Association. Mm-hmm. They had what they called a Black Family Reunion in 2004. I attended that, and Dr. Jawanza Kanjufu was the speaker. He's a noted author and a motivational speaker that writes primarily from an Afrocentric perspective. Mm-hmm. And he noted in a book that he had written called Positive Solutions for the Black Community that the problem of young males aged 14 to 25 wreaking havoc in the community, where people couldn't sit on the porch or just live peaceful lives in many communities. There was an organization, well, before I say that, and he said he took the men to task. He said, and the men are sitting around letting them get away with it. Mm. And he went on to say there's an organization that went from theory to practice to deal with that, and it's called MADDADS. Let me get that book. And the rest is history. Here we are.
Okay.
Well, George and Pastor Eller, please share with us the responsibilities of each of your roles in the organization.
George,
okay. Well, I am the president and chief executive officer. Okay. Uh-huh. As such, MADDADS is a nonprofit organization, 501c3 nonprofit. So we're bound by all the same regulations that every other public charity is bound by. And as such, I'm I'll say it this way, the buck stops here person with responsibility and accountability. The president in the MADDADS chapter is the public relations person, unless they delegate that to someone else. Okay. We also are the director of all programs. So whatever programs come out from the chapter, the programs are president, unless, of course, you know, if a president with a little sense, which I hope I have, when they recognize someone else could do a particular program better, you know, you delegate that to them. But my particular role is that of again, Chief Executive Officer and Program Director of all programs.
Oh, okay. And Pastor Ella?
Okay, well, I'm going to start with my role as the Vice President of Community Outreach. First and foremost, I want to say that my husband, who has passed away, started with MADDADS when it first started. So we are 3 generations into MADDADS.
Wow.
My daughters are part of MADDADS, and I have 2 grandkids part of MADDADS. So we're all in. So as a community outreach person, vice president of that, we were being called upon from, I don't know, so many different organizations to be part of what they were doing in the city.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about a lot of organizations. So I was saying to myself, we need to not only be part of what's going on, we need to initiate some things our own selves from MADDADS that we initiate in the city and in the communities. So we started doing outreach in Wilkinsburg, Homewood, and the Hill District. So when we were up in the Hill District, for instance, we found out that the kids would not even come outside to play unless we were up there because they didn't feel safe, because people were getting shot, killed. And these are parents that actually came and shared that information with us. So instead of just going up there, doing a community outreach, giving away bikes, doing a cookout, meeting the people, we actually said that we need to go a step further and build a rapport with the people in these communities. So that's what we started doing, going to each one of those areas, building a rapport with the community instead of doing a one-shot deal. So as I go further to talk about my role in the Moms Division, you'll get more information about that. So yes, I'm also the president of the MADDADS Mom Division. And under the Moms Division, we operate under the umbrella of the MADDADS, which is a grassroots Christian organization with the ultimate goal of assuring healthy development of each child's emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. So the first thing that we start doing, well, it wasn't the first, but one of the things, we used to go to the high schools and talk to the high school students and try to interact with them. And also, the Mom Stand is a dynamic women group with a pivotal mission to nurture the holistic development of children, ensuring their emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being while reshaping the narrative surrounding our youth by spearheading community service projects, such as what I mentioned about Wilkinsburg, Homewood, and the Hill District. So we deal with youth and family development. We adopted Turner School. So we go into Turner School. We've been doing this since last year because they had issues. They said that they had problems with the kids. So we go in there during, we started with the after school program. Now we go in at during the lunch period. And then we have some of the guys to go in after school. And we adopted this school, and it has really changed the lives of some of the students. Some of the students that they felt like were such bad kids, they weren't bad kids. They just, people just didn't expect much from them because of their behavior.
Right.
So when we went in, because this particular school only has one Black male teacher. So MADDADS start going into the school district and the moms start going into the school district, and we adopted the school. The kids kind of related to us, and we expect more from them. I told a girl, you have on pearls. You come to school with pearls on, but you're ready to fight. I don't get it. You're being a lady, but then you're ready to fight. So when we talk to them, they get it. So we're able to change the narrative of what people think about that school district and what people think about those kids. They just need us. They need a role model to show them the way. And we feel like if we're not going to do it, who's going to be there for them? So we're there basically every day. They have a frozen program going on tonight, and some of the Mad Dad guys are there tonight. We also deal with academical and spiritual support. We do community prayer walks, community and organization event, assisting events that benefit the community and our vision. So when we have people that want us to just get engaged with everything that's going on in Pittsburgh, it has to fit in with our vision. So if it fits in with our vision, then we try to be a support to them. But at the same time, we're trying to initiate something that is ours, something that we do on a regular basis with the community and with these kids.
Okay, sounds fantastic. What is the mission and the vision of the Greater Pittsburgh Mad Dads, and is the mission being fulfilled?
Well, the signature program of all Mad Dads chapter is what we call our neighborhood street patrol program. That is what every chapter must do. Okay, and so I'll start there. Neighborhood street patrol basically is kind of like a roving crime watch, if you will. The goal is to get the strong drug-free men in the community to walk the streets, particularly go to what we'll call hotspots, where, if most people know in their community where you can go buy drugs, where problems with violence and other types of vice that go on in the community. And so you'll notice our logo, okay, it stands for the outstretched hand of reason and the fist of determination. Okay. It's not about being a vigilante approach and going to those areas, but more of a surrogate dad type approach with the outstretched hand of reason. Okay. Someone needs to step up in situations where there's lawlessness and make an attempt to redirect that energy, if you will. And our perspective is the same thing for those of us that had healthy dads ourselves. My dad wouldn't sit there and watch somebody do without saying something. Okay. And we're finding we're in an age where often adults don't say something for whatever reason. Right. Fear probably is the primary thing. Well, what will they, what will be the reaction if I get involved? And so that particular program is designed to address the criminal element and to show up when they are present. Okay. And we call it getting in the way. What we found is in neighborhoods where that type of thing has gotten out of control, some of the youth or younger children that are growing up in the midst of that will think, well, that's just the way, quote unquote, we are. We'll hear that statement. Oh, well, that's what we do. No, we don't do that. There are people that do that. And we understand why they may do these illegal hustles, but there are other ways to make it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there's been times we come just walking down the street and the younger elementary age boys in particular, and just start following us. Right. It's a different image than what oftentimes they're surrounded with. And so that being said, is the mission being fulfilled? Because it's relatively broad, just like the name. Gun violence isn't the only, but you got the majority of youth, according to what I heard on the news yesterday, dying in America now is from drug overdose. Both things are terrible. Okay. So is it being fulfilled? Well, I hate to say no, because I can't have these kind of stats going on and feel like we're fulfilling the mission. But I can say that we are earnestly striving to do that. We're not being idle while all of this is going on around us. And every once in a while, we can see where it makes a difference. We've had young people come up and say, well, we're so glad you're here. So this stuff about they won't listen and that, no, they will. So and they're happy when somebody shows up. Okay. So a part of when I talk about neighborhood street patrol depends on where we are and who we're engaging. There are some communities where the drug sales are out of control, where we're engaging a criminal element that's involved with that. On a growing basis now, we're doing what is commonly called safe passage patrols after school. Okay, because there's some neighborhoods where after school, that's a dangerous time.
Yeah.
You know, you get 4 kids on one, somebody can get hurt pretty bad, and those kind of things go on at times. All right, so at the request of the U.S. Attorney's Office, we've been going downtown Pittsburgh a couple of days a week for several years now. Okay, the first time we did that type of activity was in Wilkinsburg back in 2010. After we started going down there after school. Okay, recently we got a request from McKees Rocks to start establishing safe passage patrols out there. Now we're out there a couple of days a week. Okay, and most recently, as Ella just mentioned, Turner School, they're opening it whatever time of the day you can be here. Can you help us? And so, in one sense, MADDADS is being recognized as viable enough by some people that ask, will you come? Right. So our goal is to increase our capacity to always be able to say yes. But we need to increase our capacity significantly to always be able to say yes. What we say right now is, well, we'll get there as often as we can.
Okay. Okay.
We do have a caller on the line. Can we
yeah, we
ask this
do.
question? How can a community get a safe passage patrol?
Well, okay, there's a couple of ways that can happen. Now, MADDADS is not the only organization that does that. Let me start there. There are other organizations, and so what someone may want to do, one is find out, is there already somebody in motion where you live that's doing that? Now, when it comes to people asking for MADDADS to do it, my first question is, if it's is there anybody in that neighborhood willing to be a MADDAD? Are they willing to put that uniform on and do safe passage or street patrol in any form that community needs? And the reason why I say it that way, we're back to the issue of capacity. Okay, when we started in 2006, wow, as a matter of fact, this month, coming Monday, May 6th, will be our 18th anniversary. When we started out, the only community we were functioning in was Wilkinsburg back then. That was the only place we were going. Within a few years, then that began to, spread to additional communities. What's been a little challenging is that out of the same group of members came the expansion. If that, you see what I'm saying? Like when we started in Wilkinsburg, first of all, everybody involved with MADDADS even then wasn't Wilkinsburg residents, but that's where we started. And so all of our energy was in Wilkinsburg. Now, the more we began to take on additional communities, then okay, we're in more places, but we need more people to keep going more places.
Okay.
I'll say this: what they should do if they want MADDADS to be the answer to that question is to contact us, and we'll begin working with whomever is asking that question to see how we can work together to make it happen in your community.
Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah. Well, how have the parents and the police, how have they received your organization? How receptive are the police in the communities that you go into?
In most communities, the police are very receptive. When Mad Dad starts a chapter anywhere, one of the things that's required to be certified to be a chapter is the demonstration that the stakeholders in the community really want the chapter. And so the national management team visits that city because, for one, they want to know, well, in the case of here, well, okay, there's this guy, George Spencer, wants to start a chapter. Let's go and really check this guy out. I mean, we got some renegade guy running around out there that maybe isn't a good fit for Mad Dads. You know, he's taking that Mad Dad and away from the acronym and turned it into some other kind of activity. Okay. So, and part of that is to have law enforcement present. Okay. School district officials present, business sector. You know, it's the model you commonly see when most things start up in communities. And in the case of Mad Dads, we've been a part of a number of initiatives here throughout Allegheny County. When we started out, Wilkinsburg was a weed and seed community. If you remember when weed and seed existed, Wilkinsburg was one of 14 weed and seed communities in the state of Pennsylvania. And I can tell you from the feedback from the executives of weed and seed, Mad Dads became one of the favorite organizations in the state. And the reason why, when they would come to the meetings and hear our reports, they would get excited about the fact you stopped something.
Right.
That was just because in the report now, I didn't really think it was. I said, well, we went here and here, and this was going on, and you know, we were able to diffuse that, and they would get excited because that was not a common report. Generally, and I'm not here to make a disparaging remark about any other organization, but a lot of the organization would need funds for a different kind of program, and I applaud that. They need that funding. We, in our case, we exist to try to stop stuff. So they were getting excited about that. Relationship with the police was to the extent at that time that one of the committees with Weed and Seed was the Community Police Relations Committee. Well, the police wanted me to chair the committee instead of one of them.
Okay.
Well, I'm like, I didn't ask for that. Again, the U.S. Attorney's Office, we're talking about presidential appointment. Can Mad Dad start coming downtown Pittsburgh?
Okay.
Okay. The mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, they preferred it. The police stand down when certain kind of activities are going on downtown. I said, well, why don't you see if Mad Dads can handle that when they're down there so that you can focus on something else more extreme.
Okay.
And that was the same thing in Wilkinsburg. When they asked us to start coming, they said, look, we have some things going on. Can you guys help us with that? And it turned around. You know, so when it comes to residents, same situation. I give one example. One of the ladies, actually, we were members of the same church, and had 6 children that she was still raising at the time herself. And she saw me one day, and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And well, she was honest. She said, "Oh, things are terrible. You know, there's been gunfire going on right outside our door, and oh, it's terrible. We can't go outside, and et cetera, et cetera." I mean, I got so upset about, oh my goodness, you know. And we went up on that street, and I couldn't remember where she lived. And I'm like, man, what? I can't remember where she lived. Never did see her. We stayed out there about an hour talking to people and whatnot. I saw her a week later, and she said, "Oh, I am so happy y'all came." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, I saw you. They were looking outside, but wouldn't come out."
Wow.
But the fact somebody came.
Right.
Somebody came, and then she said, "It stopped. It hasn't happened again." Now, it doesn't always work that way, but she was just excited. Somebody cared enough to
Somebody
come.
cared.
I got 6 kids in here. and these guys out here shooting and carrying on.
And to add to what George is saying, we also partner with Faith in Blue. So we go out to different churches with the police officers. And I know that we've been doing this for a few years. And I know the last year that we went out, some of the police officers were saying, oh my goodness, I cannot believe if MADDADS did not show up the 4th of July, I don't know what we would have done, because just their presence and their prayer made a difference. And this is coming from a police officer. And I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, we are working hand in hand with the police officers, and most of them really appreciate our efforts.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm glad you shared that, Ella, because if you allow me, I want to quickly just add a little bit to that story. That was 4th of July. Was that last year, 2023?
Yeah.
Okay. And downtown Pittsburgh historically gets to be a problem on that evening with the fireworks and all that. It's not unusual that there are problems down there, but that particular holiday, it went to another level, so much so that before it even got dark, there had been 10 fights down there. 9 of them before MADDADS even got on the ground, because we're not the only folks on the street. The city has an organization, Reach, that they had been down there already for a couple of hours before we got down. They said, boy, there's been 9 fights already. The 10th one happened when we arrived. They actually had officers on horseback that I had never seen them in action like they were that night.
Wow.
I mean, it was like a stampede to try to diffuse things. And I'm like, oh boy. And so the police were even saying, oh man, it's going to be terrible tonight, because that's when it usually gets bad, is when it's night. And I'm like, it's like 7:30 or something. And we already got this kind of magnitude of a problem. And I text Pastor Ella in the moms division and some other folks I know that pray, and let them know it's bad down here. We need you praying. And they began crafting prayers and sending them out by text. Then I shared it with the police officer. We're believing it's not going to be a problem tonight. See, one of the things I didn't mention earlier, the founding fathers of MADDADS looked at this as a spiritual problem.
Right.
This is a spiritual warfare problem. But at the same token, faith without works is dead. So we need to be praying to the Lord, but at some point, he's saying, well, I told Joshua, be strong and courageous, and the Lord thy God is with thee everywhere you go. And where your feet trod, I'm going to give it to you. Now, either we believe that or we don't. Okay? So I'm like, hey, y'all better get to praying, because this stuff is bad. There was not another fight the rest of the night.
Amen.
And that's what just the testimony we shared with the police before it became night. We don't believe that this is going to continue. We got people praying. And they acknowledged that, boy, that prayer made a difference.
Right.
We thought it was going to be terrible. Some cities that same night, it was terrible around the country on the 4th of July.
Wow.
Well, getting back to the question on the screen, can you give information how someone can contact the organization to get a passage patrol going in their community? Who would they contact?
I'll tell you what. I would say that again, if they want MADDADS to be the impetus for that, our number is 412-457-6635. Can also go to our website. There's more contact information on there, by email address and whatnot. And I'm saying, hey, let's talk about it and then put our feet to action.
Okay. Now, I understand you're going to have an annual scholarship dinner. So tell us about this dinner. What is the purpose? What are you going to accomplish with it? And also tell us how we can have people get involved with that.
Okay, so yes, we started the Vanessa Spencer Scholarship Fund, and that was George's wife who passed away, and she was very passionate about education and the kids in the community. So we just saw fit to start a scholarship named after her. So we started the scholarship, and we went to different schools and high schools and got kids to fill out an application to be part of seeing if they were going to be the recipient of the scholarship. So each year we added more kids, more kids, more kids. And we give out about $4,000 a year to each kid. And yeah, so what we are doing now, we always had it at the Lamont. And this year we're having it at the event on 10. And if people would like to get more information, they can go to our website, and there's information available there, or they can get in contact us by the number that was posted earlier. And then just to mention about the scholarship. So I was talking to a young lady 2 days ago, and she was concerned about her kid, but her kid is not a senior because we deal with seniors. So she's willing to come on board with the moms, because now we feel like we need to reach these kids at an earlier age, because we're finding that when we reach these kids in the 12th grade, when they go to college, they might be the smartest in their school or coming out of their graduating class. But when they get to college, they have a rude awakening. And they basically are usually not prepared. So we're rethinking this whole thing and saying, okay, maybe we need to start tracking these kids from 9th grade on and just dealing with these same kids until they get to 12th grade. So we will know exactly what track they're taking, how their preparation is coming along, and to be there to help them in any way that we can with support. So we have some people that are willing to come alongside and join the MADDADS to help us with that part. So that's where we are now. But we are excited about the scholarship, and we just feel like it's something that we're wanting to do, and even build the endowment to carry it on past us.
Is the scholarship for a certain college, or the students?
No, it's wherever they're going. They just have to be going to institution of higher learning, and then we give the money directly to the student, because we also know for books and for other stuff, because kids have to actually do their laundry. That's a lot of money just doing your laundry, not to mention a book costs $200. So if you give the money to the university, they will take the money out of what they're giving the kids. Like, we're not giving the kids anything. So so we set it up where we have this scholarship dinner, and we actually give the money to the family, to the kids, so that they can have money to buy books or to do whatever it is that they need to do.
Okay, that's good. Now, is MADDADS just for African American families or fathers, or can fathers or parents from other ethnic backgrounds join MADDADS or call on MADDADS for help?
Yes. And I will say this: at its inception, in the literature, it was calling on Black men, because, as you know, throughout America, many communities are segregated, and the black folks were looking at it like it's a Black problem. The drive-by shootings, the drug sales, and the different things that were going on. And what happened, and because the founders were actually of the Christian faith, and that was also a dual recruitment. You'll hear that even now. Well, where's the church? Where's the church? And all of that kind of thing. And they said, yeah, you know what, they're right. We need a organized group of Christian men as a force on the streets. And so they were looking at it as Black men, okay? And so that's what the literature was saying. And then they were part of an ecumenical ministry organization that was not just all Black folks. And they were like, well, can we be MADDADS? We got stuff going on over here in fill in the blank community too. And it's, you know what, we need to strike that from all the literature and say we're looking for
Right.
fathers.
Right.
And so
Okay.
the bad dads should reflect the demographics of the community where the chapter is at, tell you the truth.
Right.
Now, in Pittsburgh, we're majority Black. There are some men in it that are not Black men.
Okay.
However, and there are some men in it that are not Christian men as well. You know,
Okay.
it kind of, what we say is, hey, look, it's for you to decide whether you're comfortable being in an organization that when we pray and those things, it is of the Christian faith.
Right.
But
Mhm.
we've had chapters there were no Black men in it around the country because no Black people lived in those communities.
Right.
We've had chapters on Native American, I'll call them nations. Okay.
Mhm.
And so there you have it. That's the answer.
Now, my question is, during the recruitment process, you're inviting people to join. Is there training available for the members, and are there clearances required for them to be part of your organization?
Yes to both.
Okay.
Matter of fact, MADDADS, because of the nature of our work, particularly as it relates to the street patrol, okay, it's about getting well trained. Okay. And in the case of the Pittsburgh chapter, we're very fortunate that our street patrol director is actually a retired state trooper. And one of the reasons he was attracted to MADDADS was he was excited about the fact, boy, I like the idea of being involved with something that can help keep people from getting arrested. Okay. But anyway, his training is very invaluable in that he's been trained at the upper echelon with the state police of Pennsylvania provide them. I mean, he's been on the SWAT team and all kinds of stuff. We obviously aren't doing SWAT stuff in terms of firearms and all of that, but there is psychological preparation and whatnot about how to handle yourself, okay, and how to position yourself when you're in dangerous areas and how to protect yourself with wisdom that we've learned because of his choosing to get involved and do the training. Also, now that we're inside schools and whatnot, you have someone that's and the person at Ella Rollins that was a principal. There was a special ed teacher. And there are certain things you need to be conscious of when you're working with children in a school. And so the training overlaps into street patrol and other things that we do. And we require everybody to get an Act 33, Act 34, and National Sex Offender Registry clearance that join this organization.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, how do single parents, single mothers, how do you reach them and get them involved?
Well, we actually go after single moms. Any community outreach that we're participating in, whether we initiated it or we're part of, we recruit on a regular basis.
Mhm.
So we always have an informational table. We're always looking at single moms with kids to help the kids. For instance, we just had one of the kids their family was on the news, 5 kids in a fire,
Mhm.
homeless, lost everything. And so MADDADS, they helped out to help these kids get back to school by helping them to get some clothing.
Mhm.
They have other issues in the house. Like Red Cross only put them up for a few days because it's kind of a dysfunctional family where they had multiple families staying in the house. So we kind of follow up on that. And one of our guys worked for a place that can help get shelter and help with people that are in situations like that. So we're on board with that. And as far as other things that we do with single moms, we're definitely there to give them resources on a regular basis.
Okay. Okay.
What type of funding does MADDADS receive from foundations, governments, or individual donations?
All of the above. There are donors that have just given whatever amount they had on them just on site. We've had, here I just want to give you something. We've had that. We have people that have recurring payments that come in through our website. They set up a recurring payment of whatever amount, that they choose. We have people, people that donate those ways. And then there have been times we've got funding through a grant. We've been funded by Project Safe Neighborhood a couple times with things that we did apply for. Right now, we're functioning off a grant that we did in collaboration with another organization that does a lot of reentry work. So the part of the grant that deals with reentry, they handle. The part of the grant that deals with what I'll call public safety, violence prevention, that portion comes to us. And so we work together. And what's really beautiful about that is the magnitude of that grant for a small nonprofit like us. It could have stretched us administratively where they have that. So by working together, it's really helps us in a lot of ways with the management of the part that comes to us as we are growing in our administrative capacity, which will be better prepared for whether we're with another organization or not, if we choose to go after something with a sizable amount of money, such as what that one has, so.
And
Yes.
then even with the reentry program, so we have MADDAD members that go over to be part of that program every Tuesday. And one of the things that we found out during the holidays, we had the guys there, because a lot of them have been in jail for 20 years, 25 years. And so during the holidays, they feel like their parents, their kids and their grandkids really don't want them around because they have nothing to offer. So we're like, so what do you want to do? And they're like, oh, we just wish we had some, some gift to give our grandkids. So we're like, okay, write down your grandkids, the sex and the age. And I'm telling you, MADDADS and another organization came through where we had big bags of stuff to give to those guys, and they went to their families' homes like Santa Claus, and they were in tears because we said, okay, this is coming from you. We wrapped all the stuff and gave them, we told them what was in each thing. Some people said what they wanted, but some of them were able to give their grandkids a family like 15 gifts or 13 gifts. So they really now look at us like we're part of their family. So when we don't show up, they're like, where were you? We were looking for you. So, and we also provide job opportunities, and because they want to know where they can get their teeth fixed. So, every time we see them, we're providing them with resources of workshops where they can get jobs, or places where they would help them write resumes, or they can get a coach. So they really look at us like family. And, it's a great feeling to go there and help these guys. And we told them at the same time, they're helping us because we're seeing the needs that are out there that we want to, respond to.
I just want to check. I think, do we still have a caller on the line? If not, okay. Then we'll just go on. We do have a caller on the line. Okay. Caller, are you still available? Okay. We're going to go on. We're going to continue.
Okay. My question is, can community residents, if you're not a parent, can you still join and become involved with MADDADS?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Think of yourself, whomever would have that question, as we use the term surrogate parent. Okay. We come in with the love that a parent should have for their child. And that's the way we engage children. Like, I'm looking, that's my son, my daughter. Would I allow this with them? Okay. I'm a measure of accountability in some situations. How so happen that you're hanging out here? Because everybody on the corner isn't necessarily doing the wrong thing, but are you hanging out in the right place though?
Right.
Well, how so happen you're hanging out here? Oh, well, okay, well. You know what goes on around here? I mean, help them think. You know, somebody, true conversation. You know, somebody got shot in the head right here, 3:00 in the afternoon yesterday. You think, you know, and then last week, such and such happened. And you think this is a good idea? I mean, just opening it. What do you think is a good idea? Well, you know, you got a point here. Okay, because, you know, now in my day, what was different was somebody would have called the house before I even got there. Hey, George was down in such and such. So the accountability was going to be, if they didn't say something to me when they saw me, I was going to hear about it when I got home. What were you doing out there?
Right.
Okay, you know, so yes. Anybody can do that, whether they have biological children or not.
And some people just like to participate so that they can get informed about the resources that are available for the people in which they're dealing with on a regular basis.
Okay.
We're running short on time. So, but George, there was a question that we did not ask. So you've been the president since 2006. What
Yes.
changes have you seen with the organization and with the community?
Well, organization, one of the things that's really come on strong in the last several years is the increase in involvement of women. Okay, there's always been women from the very beginning of the founding of the chapter. There were women on the board and doing things. But one of the things that we began to notice within the last several years were a number of women that, such as Ella, that are educators or other kinds of giftings and education, where say, well, you know, they need to be encouraged and empowered to move forward as a unified group, you know, that with female idea, you know, female generated ideas and whatnot, as we all are one. And because what it also does to model males and females working together, which, let's face it, a lot of times in society, that's not something you see work well.
Right.
Men and women harmoniously working together. And it models that for a lot of children that don't have that in their midst as well. And now within the organization itself, we now are moving toward programs where the only thing we used to focus on was street patrol. Now, with a scholarship program, it's evolving into not just a scholarship, but the things you heard Ella talk about. Maybe we need to do more to prepare children for school. Okay. Now we're looking at doing some things where we may begin to do some hands-on trades preparation type things. We got some members that have a vision and a desire to do that. And so we're moving more toward program than we ever had before now.
Oh, okay.
Programs outside of street patrol.
So how many chapters of MADDADS are located in Pittsburgh?
Well, there's one, because MADDADS organizational structure is the chapter serves the county is in. Now, what we do have, though, and want to develop more of is what we call teams of members in communities. But when you say a chapter, that comprises a board, and so we're not going to have multiple boards all over the place. Okay, but teams of people like the Wilkinsburg team, the Homewood team, the Hill District, on and on and on.
Okay.
Everywhere where the need exists and people willing to do it.
Okay.
Okay. Alice, we may have time for one last question. Do you have it?
Well, do the moms participate in the street patrols?
No. No, we really don't participate in a street patrol because, I mean, we go out before them and do prayer walks to prepare the grounds sometimes for them to do street patrols. And that's something that we're trying to do more of. But the moms would really be a distraction for the men. How? Because when you're out on the streets, you never know what will come out of the mouths of the people standing around on corners or people that are on drugs. And so the men, knowing that we're women, and this is just my opinion, they would be distracted trying to protect the moms. So we don't do street patrol. We do the other stuff, but we do not do street patrol. George, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I'll add one more thing. Now we do outreach in the same community. Street patrol comes in, it goes on in.
Mm-hmm.
The moms are engaging some of the same folks,
Right?
okay, in the mom's way, but it's in more of a structured activity,
Nurturing,
kind of thing. And so they're in the same neighborhoods we do street patrol in, but
right?
but when the team is coming in to engage the criminal element about criminal element activity, the moms are coming in with us to do structured outreach. And
Right.
it really is a win-win in a lot of ways.
Right.
Okay.
Well, this has been a very interesting and a very quick hour. As I told you, it was going to fly by.
Sure
And,
did.
before we thank our guests for appearing on our program, we would like to say that the Good Health Women's Immunization Network, Good Health Wins, is our commitment to building an army of good health champions. The CDC Bridge to Access program is currently offering free COVID-19 vaccinations for the uninsured and the underinsured. And you can get this by calling 412-979-9685, and they'll give you more information on that.
Yes. And George and
Yes.
Pastor Ella, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to inform our audience about Greater Pittsburgh area MADDADS and the great work being done in our communities. And I wish you the best of luck and keep up the good work.
Right.
It's the fight.
Right. And we'd also like to thank our listening audience for tuning in. And we invite you to join the National Council of Negro Women by calling 412-867-9641 for a membership brochure and more information about becoming a member. We need your help to educate, advocate, and positively impact families and communities in the Rankin, Mon Valley, and Pittsburgh area. Remember, our live program airs on the first Friday of every month at 6 o'clock. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank our guests. Please remember, get vaccinated.
Yes.
Thank you all, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.